Hi guys, and welcome back to the final episode that you're going to see anyway of Rebuilding Stockport, the looking forward episode, the episode where we go 20 years, had to be 20 because time allowed it. I actually had to run this for 24 hours just to get 20 years into the future, instead of 25, which is what I was hoping, but that should give us enough time to see everybody retire and hopefully a lot of people go into management, and that's kind of what we want to see. Now, before we get into anything else, firstly, thank you for watching the series. It was awesome. Really glad that a lot of you seem to enjoy it. I certainly did as well. Now, before we get into anything else, Bruno Bridges' testimonial. I scheduled that to hopefully go up on Sunday. So I thought, right, we'll play on past it. And I actually played all the way up until the UEFA Super Cup final. Just to see, and I still had no option for a testimonial for Bruno Bridges, and I'm at a loss as to why. Like, he's been at the club, it would have been like over 12 years, and not only that, but according to the game, he actually joined in 2014, which means he would have been at the club 15 years, and still no testimonial. He's done plenty of time at the club, well over 10 years, like, accumulatively at the club. The only thing I can think of is someone said on a website forum from ages ago that they had to have set a retirement date for them to get a testimonial, but I don't remember that being the case. But even if that was the case, Bruno Bridges, of course, isn't young enough to be having set a retirement date. So the plan for that going forward essentially is there is not going to be a Bruno Bridges testimonial at the moment. However, now that I've got my internet sorted out, I'm hoping to properly start streaming soon. I know I've said this plenty of times before, but there is a reason behind it or whatever. But I'm going to start off by streaming a bit of Stockport just to get into the flow of things, and hopefully if we go far enough, we might be able to get a testimonial there, and then we can do it live. So make a big deal of it at the time. That's the only thing I can really think of as an option here. I didn't want to just arrange a random friendly, because then you don't get the benefits that you get with testimonials, like former players coming back, and that's kind of the real draw of the testimonials. And I'd want it to be legitimate. So yeah, it's a bit of a sad day. So this is actually the last piece of Stockport related content you're actually going to see on the channel, which is a shame, I grant you, but it's the best I could do for you, unfortunately, at the moment. Second piece of business, quickly before we get into things properly, is that building a nation. Now, obviously, I'm ending the poll about an hour after the final episode of Rebuilding Stockport aired, so that hasn't actually aired yet. I'm recording this on the Friday when you're seeing the Champions League final. That way, that way it would have been up for just over 2 days. And the thing is, I would have left it open longer, but the thing is, I need to know a conclusive answer so I can actually start working on the save, because I have a lot of things that I need to do. At the moment of me looking at it, and through pretty much the entirety, Polonia, Warsaw are in front and have been basically by between 12 and 27 votes for the entirety, which is still bloody close, I grant you. It's impressive how close it's been. At times, I think I saw it down to 10, and it's up as high as 30 at one point, but the gap has always been there, and I don't see that changing anytime soon. So it looks very likely, unless something crazy changes between now, but the thing is, it's not going to be provoked by this video because the voting would have closed by then, that we are going to be doing Polonia Warsaw as our building a nation team in Poland. That starts in the 4th tier, so I'm going to have to find a special database that has all the right rules and everything. So if you have any ideas about that, do let me know. And has the rules, which means in the second season, no foreign players, there's no non-EU rule in the top flight, which means it's basically a free-for-all, which should make it great to actually build the country. I had a look, and Poland are ranked 25th in the coefficient, so much lower than Denmark, I think, when we started last time. So that should give us a nice bit of room to grow. But the no foreign players rule, the lack of any rules like that, is going to be super-duper helpful in terms of us, not only us, but also building the teams around us. And I think it's probably the most prime league to try this in all honesty. Vasas was a cool idea, but I recently found out that it wasn't 10 non-EU players, it was 10 foreign players, which means that you were only allowed 10 players that weren't Hungarian, and that would have really hampered us going forward. Someone tweeted me that that's what the league rules were actually like, so I think it, as much as it would have been a cool story, I think that I think that Polonia Warsaw is definitely the team for us for this save. So that look forward to that. That'll be starting soon, hopefully, in like a week probably. Yeah, so there you go. That's kind of the deal with that. My other half was so pleased when you read out his comment a few days ago. He wouldn't shut up about it. Please can you read this one out so I can rub it in his face? Oh, you got it, Caroline. Right, and that truly is enough jibber jabber. Apologies, I just had to get a few things out because I couldn't think of the best way to reach a load of people at once, and that was the one that I came up with. So, the way this video is going to work, we're in the year 2030. I resigned as manager. I simmed a year to get to the correct date that I wanted to start the overnight sim, and this has taken 25 hours now as of me recording this, which is insane. And yeah, so we're going to go forward in 5-year chunks, but I've got a Google Doc or a Google spreadsheet that's got all the players that I've listed on my shortlist. That way, if a player disappears from the shortlist, I can find out where they are using the spreadsheet, and then we can still look for them, because obviously once they retire from playing, they disappear out of my shortlist, but they could still be managing or coaching. So I wanted to make sure we keep track of everybody. I've got 69, hey, the sex number, 69 players, I think, in that spreadsheet. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting one. Hopefully that won't allow us to miss anyone. I'm also going to show everything you could possibly want to see, frankly. Main leagues throughout the years, World Cups, European Championships, Nation Leagues, Champions League, Europa League, the record pages for Stockport over the years, but we'll do all that stuff once we got to the end. For now, it's going to be jumping in 5-year chunks to see who retires, who's moved clubs, looking through our shortlist, and all that kind of jazz as well. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump 5 years into the future. So we're already in 2030. Nothing's really changed. There's obviously been a few little bits and pieces that have changed. For example, Zinedine Zidane replaced me as Stockport manager, but I've just seen a news article that say that he's left and gone back to Real Madrid after 1 season at Stockport. But yeah, more of that later on when we actually look at Stockport through the years. For now, we're going to concentrate on the players first. So yeah, let's sim forward. Well, not sim forward. Let me load the save from 5 years' time, and we'll see what we're going to do. So my shortlist now consists of 67 players, which means a couple of them must have retired. It's fair to say. I've just noticed that Bruno Bloody Bridges is playing for União da Madeira. This this could not be any more perfect. Holy crap on a cracker. Okay, so let me just try and figure out firstly who is retired. I think Regan Booty is retired. That's one's pretty much dead cert. And I think Jamie Lane is probably the other one. That would make sense. So I'm just going to quickly check on those guys first. So here is old Regan Boots. Wow, he actually played... Oh my god, he played for Paris FC. This is brilliant. Okay, damn. Okay, so Regan Booty is actually 37 years old. He's available on a free transfer, but he is a director of football. Director Booty, you'd have to refer to him, I assume. His preferred... Yeah, I mean, that makes sense. You would... If you're a window cleaner, your next preferred role would be probably window cleaner. So let's look at his actual history, his career stats. So after he left us, he obviously went to Toulouse for a year. This is his first season properly at Toulouse. He did all right. Then he moved to Paris FC, in the second tier of France, which is bloody awesome, for £45,000. Didn't play fantastically well there. My God, in his first year at Toulouse, he's got 10 assists, which is the most he ever got. Oh no, tell a lie. He did all right for Aldershot Town as well, which is fantastic. And then he actually moved to Clermont Foot and got 5 assists that year. Well, he would have been, I don't know, 33 years old, 35 years old. Well done, Regan Booty. It's fair to say he's had a decent career so far. We'll still check in on people like this later down the line, because if he's a director of football, it stands to reason he's probably going to get some jobs, and he hasn't actually retired, which is a good sign for me, frankly. So I'm going to mark that down in my notes. Oh, that's really nice. So Jamie Lane, this is great. We didn't get this with Frozen Fortunes. Most of our players of Frozen Fortunes retired, just straight up retired. But I'm guessing because of the reputations, perhaps, and the quality, they've gone into coaching a lot more. So Jamie Lane is the reserve coach at Amiens, which is nice. And he was the under-19 coach at Getafe before. He actually did stay at Stockport for 1 more season. So let's just have a look and see how he did under Zizou. No, he actually stayed for Stockport 2 more seasons, Frank. Good lord. So this was the final season under me. And then under Zidane, he got 7 goals, 1 assist the following season. My God, 10 appearances and only... nothing. No goals, no assists, and then he played no times in the last season at the club, which is a shame for old Jamalanas. But hey, it's nice to see him doing so well. He's actually got a decent job. He's a coach, reserves coach at Amiens. He's not bad, honestly. I mean, okay, his coaching stats aren't great. More the mental side, even his knowledge, he could probably be a better scout, in all honesty. So we'll see how Jamie Lane does throughout the rest of his career. So let's just quickly take a look at the shortlist and see who's kind of moved around now. So what I tend to do is go by the value of the players, because I think that's an important sort of step. So as you can see, I'm tend to concentrate on players that have moved clubs, because then we can kind of talk about them a little bit more. Other ones will wait till they retire before we talk about them, if that kind of makes sense. So that's the best way to look at it. So it's nice to see that all of these lads are still at Stockport right now, and David Mello is now the highest rated in terms of value in the entire team. Russell Eel's up there as well. Very, very nice. Kevin Wright, Abdurazak Slawi, Corbinian Garais. It's nice to see Garais up there. Who's he wanted by? Real Madrid. Okay, we might have hit on something quality with him. There's Talakanmaz, who moved to Bayern Munich, interestingly. 28-year-old Talakanmaz played for Real Madrid for a while, and then he moved to Bayern Munich, presumably for massive money, £84 million. I was actually seeing him linked with moves to Manchester United for way more than that, like 155 million. Still, I think we got ripped off by Real Madrid. £59 million. This guy would have been an absolute star for us. Then again, who needs Kanmaz when you've got the guard dog? That's what I say to that one. Carlos Toril. Oh, interesting. So This guy, he's a guy that for me, he just seemed to... He was always there and always seemed to have some quality, but he just never really fitted the style of play that we liked to use. And there he is. He left us on a free transfer, went to Real Madrid, didn't play a single game for them over 2 years, then left for Chelsea for £15 million and has become he got 12 goals in the Premier League one season, Carlos Toril. Did he ever get any Spain caps? He must have got Spanish caps. 11 caps for Spain as well. This is a guy who his career was stagnating at Stockport and at Real Madrid. And then suddenly he has this sort of Indian summer part of his career with Chelsea. It's really, really nice to see that. I'm pleased for old Carlos. Right, so let's go back here. Roussel and John Villa still at Stockport. Daniel Christensen, okay, he's gone to Arsenal. I think he left us on a free transfer as well. He did play a few times for us, apparently. No, he didn't. Oh my god. Okay, so he did get a lot of games for us, in fact. Where are we looking here? So yeah, that was the first season away. No, this was the first season. So he went out on loan, came back and played for us for a bit, didn't play that well, went on loan to Celta Vigo, played a lot better, then came back, played, wow, actually got 5 goals that year, still not great, but then moved to Arsenal for £54 million. A player I signed for £3 million left for £54 million. I dread to think what Stockport's bank balance is looking like at the moment with all of these players that they've probably been able to move on, so fair play old Danny Christensen. It's nice to see him doing so well, bless him. Moving on, Leicester. Oh, wow, really? Liviu Staiku plays for Leicester. My God, he's played for bloody everybody. I don't understand why he's on loan from Tottenham at Leicester. 87 caps for Romania. Why on earth would we let this guy go? I don't understand. Liv Staiku was absolutely pivotal this season. This was the season, right? 28-29 for us winning the Champions League. He was not as good as he was the season before, interestingly, but the first year after, Zidane must have misused the crap out of this guy. Then he goes to Roma on loan for a year, comes back to play for us for a bit, does okay, then goes on loan to Everton for a year, and he actually does really well. Then on loan to West Ham for a year, and then we sold him to Spurs for £42 million, and now he's just about, for this brand new season, gone on loan to Leicester. Not the career I'd expected for this guy. I kind of figured he had the sort of potential to be a Stockport legend, quite frankly, given how good he was for us, and particularly in that first season for us. But I guess his career just, maybe he didn't quite have the potential ceiling that we thought he did. Then again, we paid 5.5 million and we moved him on for 42 million. So yet again, wonderful profit from the old Stockport lad there. Fair play, guys. I'm impressed with that. Moving down the list a little bit more. Philip Sollert still there. Simon Quickenden. Oh my days. Are we serious? I just want to quickly have a gander at him. Simon Quickenden. This is a guy who came through our youth. He was the most recent sort of star that came through our youth academy, and I went, he's fine. Holy Jesus. He's got 51 appearances for Stockport now, 4 goals. Where has this come from? He went on loan to of course he bloody did. He went on loan to Norwich for a season. Scored 4 times, got 4 assists. He's not been amazing for Stockport so far, but the fact that he's already got that kind of value, that is insanity. I'm really, really pleased for him. Don't get me wrong, it's just strange is all. So fair enough. Victor Roos still here. Guard Dog is playing for Manchester City. How dare you? How very dare you? They better have paid us a lot of money. 36 million. That is a pittance for what this guy is worth. I'm guessing Zidane underused him. Look at his ratings under me. Genuinely, look at the ratings. There's 7.5, 7.67, 7.34, 7. Those are insane ratings that he's got. And then one season under Zinedine Zidane, and the arse falls out of him. Then a second season under Zinedine Zidane, and the arse falls out of him. Then he goes on loan to Celta Vigo for a bit, and then we ship him off for 36 million. Still made 30 million profit, but I am pissed that we sold him to City. And oh look, he's actually much better for Manchester City. Sort of. He's a player that, he's an underrated star, and he did so well on the manager vote too, which is really nice to see. 72 caps for Denmark from our Nordic god here. Nikolai Overgaard Sonogor, thank you for your service, sir. Hope he becomes on to be a manager. I'm just ashamed that we let him go to City. That's just unacceptable. Nothing against City, but come on, we're Stockport. Next up, Julius Meyer, who plays for Roma. I would have expected more from him, in all honesty. He played 117 times for Stockport County before leaving to Roma. When did he leave? He went on loan to Atletico for a season. Like, why on earth was he not getting game time? Who on earth was being partnered next to Morgan Roussel to where Julius Meyer couldn't get game time for us? Presumably new players. Then again, oh no, that's just piss poor. What are you doing, lads? They sold him to Roma for 35 million. We actually lost £6 million on Julius Meyer. I just figured this guy was going to be a star. How many He's got 84 caps for Germany. What on earth were we playing at? His heading isn't great. Has that gone down? It feels like it's gone down. Well, there you go. Julius Meyer's left as well, which is a shame. Alexandru Negoita has also left. This one I already kind of knew about because when I was briefly looking through stuff, I saw that he'd left because of the transfer. He left like literally in that summer. The very first summer that I succeeded the team over to Zizou, he left, which is a real shame. But it was for big money, if I recall. £93 million Alexandru Negoita left for. That is huge, and in fairness to him, he's had some blinding seasons for Juventus. Particularly Juventus under 23s. Like, even so, even in the big leagues, he's been sensational. We made nearly £90 million profit on Negoita, though. It's just a shame he didn't stay. I would have liked... Hopefully Niels van Dijk is still here, so we've actually got like a goalkeeping legend still at the club. I'm still amazed at how many of the good players are still here, though. It's not quite the exodus I'd anticipated. Only 49 caps for Romania, though, is weird. That really does strike me as strange. John Pirou has left to go to Whoa, he's had a bit of a storied career, hasn't he? No England caps, though, interestingly. Only 2 for the under-21s. No England caps, and he's on nearly 100 grand a week at Borussia Mönchengladbach. That's surprising, I've got to say. So, first season under Zizou, doesn't get much game time. Went on loan to Wolves, did okay. Went on loan to Valencia, played a lot. And then we sold him to Hertha for £16 million. Has a really, really good season in the Bundesliga, then a couple of slightly more average ones before moving to Borussia Mönchengladbach for £34 million. And in fairness, this season, or last season rather, he was brilliant. 3 goals, 2 assists, 2 man of the match awards for Pirou. Fair play to the guy. Another of our youth academy graduates has gone on to big things and we've made a lot of money at. Well, I hope we had some clauses. That's all I'll say on that one. Fair play to John. It's nice to see him doing well. Notice as we go further down, a lot of players aren't really, at the club anymore. It's fair to say. Mihalescu, who we never actually saw play a single game for us and did not, in fact, play a single game for us in the end. We loaned him to Stoke for a season and eventually sold him to Toulouse for 8.5 million. So only a tiny profit on Mihalescu, which is a shame, I grant you, but there you go. Moving further down, Klivanli Hevani, the guy who went on loan to, who was it? Uniao for a season. What's happened here? There we go. That took a little while there. He's at Borussia Mönchengladbach as well. Please tell me we got some money for this guy. What on earth? What were we bloody thinking? So we did 3 years on loan at Uniao. Look at this! Bear in mind, he is not a striker. Okay, I guess he can play there, but he never played there for us, and he never played there in the first season for Uniao. Look at 25 goals in 30 matches, 8 assists. This guy is insane. The following year, he was a bit worse for them, which is weird. And then he moved back to Brazil on a free transfer, eventually moving to Santos for 9.5 million. And look, he got 20 goals in 53 appearances for Santos in the Brazilian leagues. And now he's doing all right, frankly, for Borussia Mönchengladbach. 6 goals, 6 assists. I'm liking this because it shows I was able to pick a good player. No caps for Brazil, unfortunately. It's just the club dreadfully mismanaged him after I left. But it is nice to see him playing for Uniao. That's really, really nice to see. So moving off of him, going a bit further down. This one's obviously going to be the longest one because other people won't have retired during that period. So Vigo's still here. Bednar's still here. Mick Leach-Smith, another of our youth academy graduates, which is really nice to see. Playing for Bristol City at the moment. In fact, what on earth? Mick Leach-Smith has 1 England cap, but yet there's players that are much better than him, it would seem, that don't. Eventually wow, that's interesting. He did 2 years on loan at Bristol City, who have been in the Premier League this entire time, by the way, so fair play to them. Then he moved on a free transfer and has been there for 4 years now, putting up some decent numbers for Bristol City, enough to get him an England call-up. So, and yet another of our youth academy players plays for England, or has got a cap for England, which is really, really nice to see. Rodrigo Nascimento, yeah, I mean, you don't really know much about him anyway. Greg Stubbs is still at Stockport County. Really nice to see. I know I've said that a lot. Pedro, 32-year-old Pedders. Whoa, he has moved around a buttload. How's his career been going then? So, he went on loan to Arsenal for a year after he was getting misused, it would seem, at Bayern. Came back to Bayern for another 2 seasons. Did okay. Then went on loan to Borussia Dortmund. Then back to Bayern for a season, and then he moved on a free transfer to Hoffenheim. And well, last year, 5 goals, 8 assists, his best return in like 5 years. Pedro's career did not go the way I expected it to. I hope he did get some Brazil caps. 23 caps in the end for Peders. I honestly think he deserved better. Maybe we should have kept hold of him. I think he could have been an absolute star for us, but I was worried that he would have just forced to move anyway. So we'll keep an eye on old Pedro. Anyone else? David Akwebu plays for Leicester City. Interesting. He's gone straight from us to Leicester City in the end, it would appear. £38 million he moved to them, so we made a load of money on him anyway. And he's been pretty average for Leicester in the league over the last 5 years, but, what can you say about that, really? It's a shame for him, really. Lloyd Hubbard, one of our youth academy graduates as well. Wonder if he's got any England caps. No. Plays for West Bromwich Albion. Ooh, he's played for a lot of different teams. Most of them on loan, I assume. Yeah, did Barnet on it. Actually did really, really well at Barnet when he was young. He did a loan at Preston as well. 19 goals in the Championship for Preston is actually really, really good. We then let him go to West Brom on a free transfer where he was crap for like 2 seasons. And then 18 goals in the Championship one season, which is pretty damn solid, I've got to say. Then they got promoted, obviously, with him. Scored 12 goals in the Premier League for Lloyd Hubbard. Really nice. Back down again. Got another 18 goals. He reminds me a lot of that guy I had who was Australian for Frozen Fortune's save, who went to like Swansea and was just like a yo-yo player with them at the club and just kept going up and down and scoring bag loads of goals. I can't remember his name, but he was really, really good. Lloyd Hubbard, sort of an average. He's in what they would call the Huckabee zone. Like, he's too good for the Championship, probably, but not good enough, probably, for the Premier League. Although, 12 goals is not bad. He's probably a low-end Premier League player, which is pretty good for another player that came through our youth academy. Really nice to see that. Liam Hunter. Oh, my days. Liam Hunter plays for Chelsea. After a few little other clubs have gone around. No caps for England or anything. So he went on loan to Swansea. That was his first actual loan spell, and he did okay. 9 goals and 15 assists for Swansea City. Moved to Celtic for free, and then, I mean, his career just took off from there. 5 goals, 10 assists, then 8 goals, 11 assists, then 8 goals and 8 assists, but only in 21 matches before earning a £15 million move to Chelsea, and he's scoring goals in the Premier League for Chelsea now. Really nice to see that yet another one of our players is now a high-end Premier League player. Did his time in Scotland and worked his way up, which is fantastic as well. Niels van Dijk still at the club. Piero Bolina still at Ajax. I thought we'd keep an eye on some of the guys that left as well. I mean, look at this. He's been at Ajax for years. Like, absolutely years. How many appearances has he actually got for Ajax? 168 appearances and 86 goals for Ajax, the no longer young Italian. That is a very good goal return for these guys, and he's still only on 36 grand a week. Fair play. I mean, we made a little bit of money on him. I think, yeah, we sold him for £10 million, and he's been... I mean, look at this run of seasons here. He has been an absolute star. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like considered a favoured personnel by the club, in all honesty. Let's just have a little look at... Can we do that? Where is it? It'll be on General? I think it's on General. I want to see him on here. Yeah, look at that. He's a club legend, Piero Borlina, up with Bergkamp, Van Basten and Jari Littman. Piero Borlina. Take a bow, son. That is... really, really awesome. I'm actually, yeah, super, super happy about that. It's nice to see him doing so well. That he never really got much of a chance with us, in all honesty. So, moving further down, Roush is still here. Chris McAnallen also plays for Bristol City in the Premier League. He's been about a bit as well. Looks like he went on loan to Norwich for a season. Yep. I think that was the season I was actually at the club. Then he did year at Rangers and made 1 appearance before Celtic picked him up for £24 million. He played 1 season at Rangers, made 1 appearance and had a shit day, and then Celtic went, how about £24 million for that lad? And to be fair to him, he was great for Celtic for a couple of years and then moved to Bristol City into the Premier League for £9 million, where he's been actually pretty dreadful that first season for them. That is pretty bloody awful. But look at that, 14 clean sheets in 24 matches for Celtic. I know it's a league they probably dominated, but 56 caps for Northern Ireland as well, which is pretty cool. John Hume plays for Okay. Okay, John. You strange man. Very interesting to see. John Hume plays for Udinese. Went on loan to Spal for a year, which was fine. Then he moved to Udinese on a free transfer, and he's been sort of average for them over the... John Hume was honestly a player I thought had England potential written all over him, but he's never quite amounted to anything. Well, he's playing for Udinese in Serie A, so I guess there's that, and 147 appearances for them to boot. So, fair play to old Johnny Hume. Moving down a little bit further. Kai Schallenberg, you don't know much about him at the moment. Charlie Dyer is still playing, and at the age of 32, plays for Genoa now. He just never quite fit the way we play, basically. It went on loan to Torino for a year. Not Genoa, Torino. Why did I say Genoa? I don't know where that came from. £21 million. They actually somehow made a profit on him later in life. So fair play to old Charlie. Moving down a little bit further. Craig Putt. Right, we're excited about that, but I'm also excited about Eric Thompson-Svenningsson. Who is he wanted by? Please be someone big. Watford. Okay. Eric Thompson-Svenningsson. He did get 2 caps for his country following in his daddy's footsteps. Not quite Jonas level, but... This is a guy who I never even given a thought to the fact that he might be half decent. He's never actually moved for a transfer fee, so I guess that would lead some credence to that. But that 1 year he had for us in the Premier League, where he made 11 appearances, 4 assists and a 7.29, he was astonishingly good that year. Just never quite recaptured that form. Did it on loan at Espanyol. Eventually went to Torino on loan and was all right. Moved to Hamburg for a free transfer. Did a year on loan at Southampton in the Premier League as well. He's been okay. He's a very middling player, but the point is he's actually had a career when I really didn't think there was anything about this guy that made him special. So fair play. Maybe it's because I brought him into the team when maybe I wouldn't have done with other players. Craig Palmer. I think he's going to have massive amounts of goals to his name for whoever he's played for. I hope we got some money for him. Oh, sort of. So, yeah, I mean, you can see those returns. 22 goals for Brentford one year, did a little bit in Turkey, still did decently. Went back to Brentford the following season, scored a few less goals, but still all right. Went on loan to Angers in Ligue 1, did okay before moving to Chievo on loan for a season. He got 11 goals in Serie A. But then, I mean, look at that season in Serie B. 20 goals for him in 32 games, promoting them back to the top flight. No, they didn't even get promoted that year. Then the season after that, he got less goals, but they got promoted. 12 Man of the Match awards for him in Serie B. And now they are playing in Serie A again, and he's scoring goals. Craig Palmer, I'm really proud of Craig, because I feel like he's just been one of those players that was never quite good enough for Stockport, but he just had bags of goals. He's got 145 goals in 384 appearances in the league. It's tailed off a bit in recent years, it would seem, but still, he's a solid player. Proud of Craig for doing a good job there. And Abasolo plays for Valencia over in España. So we'll take a little look at this as well. Yep. Okay. So he moved to Cardiff, interestingly. So we made money on him either way, just not quite as much as I would have hoped. At one point, he was valued at like £40 million. So maybe we could have sold a bit earlier. I don't know. Eric Menson playing for Shakhtar, interestingly. Albert Asner, you don't really see much of him. Dan Short, another one of our youngsters that came through the youth academy, playing. He is actually a permanent fixture there now. So he moved to Sheffield Wednesday on a free transfer. I mean, did a season out in Spain, did okay. I had high hopes for him, honestly. Giuliano Trombetta. Andy Davidson, still playing. He was released in the summer that we finished the save, so there's that. Bordeaux. That was the season he did on loan. Then he moved to Sheffield United on... Oh, no, yeah, okay, sorry, I'm getting a bit confused. This was his first season outside of the save. Went to Vitesse, and he's been there ever since. And he's actually had his best season for them last season. So fair play, Andy Davidson. Never quite got the England call-up. I figured he had England potential, but apparently not. He's not that important. Frank Plattby, she's still only 24 years old, remember this guy. He came through the youth academy, centre-back. How has he done ever since leaving us? Oh, God, he's been all over the place. Loans for days. Like, just tons and tons of loans before moving to the MLS in the summer, which is a strange choice. A very strange choice, actually. Josef Bajsa. Plays for Braga. Okay, that's nice to see. How did he actually do for Stoke? Oh, my lord. Right, okay, we need to talk about this, right? Look at his record for Stoke. That is appalling. He eventually left for 1.9 million, but look at that. 29 goals in 167 league appearances for Stoke City. This is why he was not the man for us. Like, he actually had a better goal return for us than he did for Stoke. We got rid of him at the right time, it's fair to say. Jesus Christ. Anyone moving down? James Teggett, we don't know much about him. Cardo Makengo, playing for Palermo, the 33-year-old now. Did we get any money for him? Nope, he moved to Palermo on a free transfer and has been there ever since. Nice to see. Wilson is now playing for Olympiacos, interestingly, over in Greece. Don't know why my brain just had a bit of a brain fart there. Moved for £5.5 million from Atalanta after he's done a good job in Greece. So yeah, fair play to him on that one. Verbac, you don't know much about him. Mitrovic is kind of a similar story. Even Dimitrov, he's playing for Zenit now. I bet he was he must have been released on a free. No, he wasn't actually. He moved for £11 million to La Liga to go to Celta Vigo, and then came back to the Premier League for a couple of seasons with Bristol City before moving out to Spartak and having a wonderful year. And he's now moved to Zenit for £1.7 million. So he's moved around a fair old bit here, old Ivan Dimitrov. 98 caps for Bulgaria as well, very nice. Tafet Schürfer, he never quite, yeah. He got a few games for us, which was surprising. Moved to Duisburg on a free. I mean, yeah, then again, that season for 1860, 12 assists is pretty bloody good, albeit in the third tier of German football, but still, fair play to him. Johnny Akor, he's still playing. He's playing his trade in Denmark now. When I checked before, he hadn't played a single game for Brøndby, and he's basically been used in dribs and drabs before moving to AGF, Aarhus, in the middle of All Street, and he's doing all right there. Last season in, the second tier it would appear in Denmark, got a goal, his first goal, oh my god. He scored a goal in 2034-35 season, which was his first league goal since playing for Crewe 7 years earlier. Oh, Johnny. His career, he had such high hope. Look at some of his seasons in the Championship. 16 goals and 13 assists. And that following season, 20 goals and 18 assists in the Championship during our promotion season. He was absolutely unplayable in the Championship, and that injury completely ruined his career. I stand by it. He did eventually get 10 caps for Nigeria, but it's such a shame. Chris Thorpe, I already knew about this, that he actually moved to Western Sydney when I'd seen. and he's done all right, frankly, down there. He's done all right down under. He got 11 goals in the G'day League, and he's moved to Central Coast Mariners after that. So playing all of his football down under now, old Chrissy Thorpe, never quite international standard. Ethan O'Kane, when I looked at it, he was playing for Young Boys, and he has moved around all over the shop, this lad. It never really worked out from Young Boys, moved to Huesca on a free. Back into the English leagues, though, with Sheffield Wednesday. Did one season before moving for less money to Ipswich Town, went on loan to Spal, then back to Ipswich, then on loan to Spal for 2 more years, went to Alavés for a season, didn't play at all, and now he's on loan at Ludogorets. What a weird time he's had. Has he got 65 caps for Northern Ireland, though? Our 5'9" said, he's not even that bad. I bet you wish he hadn't left us, though, old Ethan here. Liam Miller, wow. He's still playing at 35 years old. 78 caps, he's probably retired from international football, it's fair to say. So yeah, he moved to Amiens for £17 million and had a decent first season there. Did 4 years there before going out on loan to PSV Eindhoven. Didn't quite work out for him. 2 more years at Amiens before moving over to Al Hilal. And look at that second season in Saudi Arabia. 8 goals and 16 assists. That's vintage Liam Miller. One of the legends of this save, it's fair to say. Is there anyone else down the bottom of the list? There actually is a couple. Old Bruno Bridges. Keith Burton. We don't really care that much about old Keith Burton. He never really had the... Yeah, I figured he was going to be a world beater. He just didn't do it. So Bruno Bridges. Here he is. 34-year-old Bruno Bridges. I am... You have no idea how happy I am that he is playing for União da Madeira. I cannot stress enough how awesome that is. So... He went on loan to Estoril for a bit. Did he have 2 loan spells? That doesn't make sense. Oh, it might have been because of the carryover bit. Literally, the moment I let go of the team, he was sold for £1.1 million to Gil Vicente over in the second tier of Portugal. He moved on a free transfer and actually played in the Portuguese top flight for Vitória Setúbal before moving on another free transfer and having a woeful time at Vitória Guimarães. Look at that, 6.27. Probably a relegation season. Then he moved to União da Madeira on a free transfer, and his career just took off again. 3 goals, 2 assists, a player of the match awards, and a 7.20. And now he's about to start his 4th season playing for my favourite Portuguese side, União da Madeira. This could not have worked any better than this for Bruno to actually return to Portugal and play for them. Maybe because they had the connection to Stockport, he figured that was a perfect part of his career. But there you go. I hope Bruno becomes a manager. I just don't see it happening somehow, but still ecstatic for him for doing that. Louis Molden is still playing at 33, but hasn't had a club for a while. In fact, it appears he hasn't had a club for... Oh my God. He played for Leeds for absolutely ages and only made 5 appearances since we sold him to them for £1 million. He's basically been a backup goalkeeper. He is the... who was that guy? The guy that was always the backup to Shay Given, who I can never remember whose name. Steve Harper. And John Gray is still playing as well, presumably just so we can get those international call-ups. No. So we gave him to Nîmes on a free transfer, and he played for them for bloody years. So that's 6 or 7 years he's been in France, bouncing around the leagues there, old Johnny Gray. So that's really cool to see. So that concludes this part of the thing. So what I'm going to do now is we're going to go... 5 years into the future again, see who, if any players have retired, and yeah, we'll take a little look and see which ones they are, and all that jazz. Okay, so I've had a slightly better idea. For a start, as you can see, 17 players have now retired from this. We're going to wait and go to that till the end. We're just going to look at any players that have moved clubs again to sort of take a look at that one. That way we can get to the ending part a little bit sooner, because otherwise this video could end up being like 3 hours, and we don't want that, do we? So Hivani's still there at the club, which is fine. Melescu's now at Tottenham, which is interesting, but he's he'd already left us. Maurice Rausch, a guy I sort of brought in, has left and joined. Bloody hell, he's had a lot of loan spells, hasn't he? Anyone else that's interesting? Mick Leach-Smith, but he'd already left the club as well. So Elcho Bofa, he has left and joined... 271 appearances for Stockport County before a £56 million move to Toulouse. That's really interesting that Toulouse could throw around £56 million. That is a very strange... decision from them to throw around that kind of money. I would have thought they were a sort of average club in League 1, so maybe they've had a bit of a revival, it would seem, because to be signing a player for £56 million, particularly a player of Elcho Bofa's quality, and he's got a lot of assists for them since playing. Probably got more for them than he did for us in his entire career, frankly. 98 caps for Belgium, and he is still playing, bless him, so that's interesting to see. Greg Stubbs, finally old Stubbso, has moved. I assume he's moved before that too. He went on loan to Juventus and actually scored goals for them. So how did he do for us? So here's the last season that I played, where he got 1 goal. The following season, he actually was considered... Zidane obviously played him. He got 4 goals in 17. The following year, he got 8 goals in 28. He played for us for a decent number of years in the Premier League, did Greg Stubbs, and that's really nice to see. Went on loan to Juventus for 2 seasons before moving to Juventus for £32 million, old Greg Stubbs, and then he never really played for them again. And then went on loan to Valencia. But look at this. That loan spell at Valencia, 13 goals. In La Liga, and then moved for 31 million. Greg Stubbs, I hope he has an England call-up somewhere in there. 2 caps. Greg Stubbs did get 2 caps for England. No goals in the end, but it's really nice to see Greg Stubbs doing as well as that. Super, super happy for him. Right, who else we got? Victor Rus, he plays for Bristol City. So, my God, Bristol City. They seem to have picked up all of our former players. 14 caps for Belgium and 1 goal. Oh, my God, he's played so many different sides. Look at the amount of loan spells this lad has had. 23 goals, though, for Lille in Ligue 1. That is a ridiculous record. That was his best season. And then he went on loan to Valencia for a season and scored 17. He really hit some form there, and then moved to Inter for free and basically played nothing. Moved to Bristol City now for £10 million. I wouldn't be surprised if he was fantastic for them, in all honesty, having played for them a few years earlier and never really getting much game time. Then again, 5 goals isn't bad. I still think he might have a bit of an interesting end to his career, in all honesty. Negoita's still at Juventus. Pirot is now at Chelsea. I swear he was at Borussia Mönchengladbach before. Moved to Chelsea on a free transfer this summer. So that's interesting. Moving down a little bit more. Oh, Philip Soller has decided to bugger off to China. I hope he got a big payday for that. He actually moved to West Ham on £43 million. He went to Real Madrid, then went to Stade Rennais on loan for a year, and eventually Real Madrid shipped him off to China. That's a shame. I figured Philip Soller could be a bit of a legend. I bet he's got a load of Sweden caps. 107 caps for Sweden. Wow. Okay. Picked another good one there, it would appear, which is nice. Considering I picked him up on a whim. Morgan Roussel. Oh, okay. Morgan Roussel is now playing for Sporting. He must have a lot of appearances for Stockport. 404 appearances for Stockport County. Look at that. Before moving for £19 million to Sporting Lisbon. Wow. Over 400 appearances for Stockport. He must be the record appearance holder in this team. I'd be very, very sure that Morgan Roussel is a club legend at Stockport now, without a shadow of a doubt. What a career he had at us. That's 15 years he was at Stockport County? Fair play to him. That is serious. Presumably he got 127 caps for France as well. What an absolute lad this guy is at 32 years old. Fair play, Morgs. That is really, really nice. Moving down a little bit more. Kai Schallenberger. Lloyd Hubbard still at West Brom. Carlos Toril still at Chelsea. Liv Staiku now plays for Huddersfield. He has just ricocheted around the leagues at the moment, hasn't he? Whoa, okay, his career took a turn upwards again as he smashed it for Roma for £44 million before moving back to the Premier League and then getting summarily relegated by Huddersfield. Oh dear, not amazing for him there. Frank Platt Beach, we talked about him already. Florian Karius still here. Dan Short's playing for Ipswich. Julio Vigo did finally leave the club, it would appear, and went and moved to Galatasaray, although not before. Actually, went to Huddersfield for a bit for nearly £10 million. Did great there. Then moved to Toulouse again. Toulouse shoved another £22 million on one of our former players. They must have big money now. And then eventually he went out to Turkey to sort of finish off his career there. But interesting. I want to have a look at Toulouse because there must be a reason for that. Piero Borlina is still at Ajax. Still. I've just nearly broke my watch. That is mental that he is still at the club. He's been there, 15 years now? Really, really nice. He must be he's already a club legend when we looked 5 years ago. Albert Asner, Taffet Schofer still at 1860. Trombetta, John Villa. He actually has moved, and he's gone back to Ecuador to finish off his career there. 36-year-old John Villa. Did okay for us. He never really broke... Good look at that. He never broke double figures other than in that one season. The season we got... The last season I did. And then moved to Dynamo Kiev on a free transfer. And he's gone back to Ecuador and is absolutely smashing them in back in Ecuador. And look at the amount of goals he had for his country. 64 goals and 155 caps for John Villa. He still deserved better, I've got to say. Josef Bajsa. Oh my God, where's he playing now? Is that back in Slovenia or Slovakia? Yeah, he is back in Slovakia. Went to LA Galaxy for a while. Did okay for Braga. He got 11 goals in a season for Braga, so that's not too bad. Bless him. 141 caps for Slovakia, though, so that's probably where he did his best work. Kamil Bednar has now retired. He did a bit on loan at Cardiff. 200 appearances for Stockport as well. Moved to Cardiff for £11 million. Never quite recaptured the form that he was in when I was in charge. In fact, Zizou appears to have ruined him. I'm blaming Zizou for a lot of this, you've got to say. Akwebu is unavailable. These guys are all currently released at the moment. So, again, jump another 5 years into the future, see who's still around. So there's only 9 players that are actually still existing at the moment, and amazingly 3 of them are still at Stockport. So we'll just look at the ones that aren't first. Schallenberger left, Michalescu, Frank Platt Beach is still over there, Hivanli, and of course but look at this, Simon Quickenden, 304 appearances for Stockport County and 27 England caps. That is mental. I never would have expected that this guy could be the player that he has become here. Every single season, regular in the Stockport County first team, over 20 appearances every single year, and he's still going, old Simon Quickenden. That's just taken me completely by surprise for him to have done as well. 27 England caps and 3 goals as well. He's on £200,000 a week. He's just come out of nowhere. He's an elite winger. I guess you just can't always judge a book by the cover. It's as simple as that. João Schwarz as well, another player I brought in, is still at Stockport County. He's made 389 appearances for Stockport. He literally cost us £500,000 and he's gone on to make nearly 400 appearances for the club. I love players like this that just come in and just do a job like that. And he's 135 caps for Portugal as well. And he cost us £500,000. Insane. I love being able to pick up those players. And the final one, Niels van Dijk. This is sensational as well. 121 caps for Holland. Look at that. 300 and something like 80 odd appearances for Stockport County as well. And look at that one season. He only conceded 13 goals in 20 matches. So he's been bloody excellent for Stockport once he was thrust into the limelight. It cost £7.5 million, but he's been there at the club now for 17 years. Just mental. Absolutely mental. Right, we're going to jump one final step and then we'll start going through the players' careers properly. So I thought I would just, on a whim, check the shortlist and see if anyone was still playing. I cannot believe this. Niels van Dijk is still playing for Stockport in 2050. He is 38 years old. I've never seen that before. He's retiring in like a month. He's on international duty. If he hasn't got close to 200 caps, I'll be amazed. Oh, he's only got 155. He's 38 years old. 38 years old. 550 league appearances for Stockport County. That is, I think, probably the longest serving player I've ever seen in one of these saves. He joined Stockport in 2028. He's been at the club 22 years. He could have had 2 testimonials. He's still playing in the Premier League at the age of 38. It's also nice to see that Stockport have maintained themselves as a Premier League club. They haven't completely fallen off the rails here. Stockport legend. He's probably Stockport's greatest ever player, Niels van Dijk. Imagine having a goalkeeper at your club for 22 years. And he actually played for almost all of those regularly, and certainly has been a regular for the past 15 years at the club. To be playing as a regular in the Premier League at 38, utter insanity. So yeah, that's where we'll start with Niels van Dijk. I mean, what can we really say about him in that period? So I think the best thing we can do really would be to firstly have a look at Stockport's record and then have a look at the players themselves. And we'll come back and have a look at the players themselves. So the first thing we've got to do is take a look at Stockport County. How has their league form changed? They've won a few more titles, it's fair to say. Obviously, no more players there. We're playing at the Danny Bergara Arena, which is now a 52,000 capacity stadium. Yes, lads. That is sensational. So this was our final league win under me. We then had a couple of seasons of third place, a second place, another third place, before we won the league again, dropping down to 5th for a few years, back to winning the league again, down to 4th, back to winning the league, and then a couple of really strong second places. We then had our lowest finish since I left in 8th place, a 4th, a 6th, a 5th, a 6th, and an 8th again. Really, really interesting. I guess it would be a good time to take a look at the facilities are kind of irrelevant because, yeah, I pretty much maxed them out as much as I could. Registration tactics, what are we really looking for here? We're looking for overview. Here we go. So 4 Champions League, 5 Premier Leagues, 3 Club World Cups, 2 FA Cups, 3 UEFA Super Cups. We've won the Europa League 3 times and 4 European Cups. Won the Championship, 2 League Cups, 4 Community Shields, 2 League Twos. Mental. Alf Lithgow still has the record there. Niels van Dijk holds the record clean sheets with 26. So, yeah, I want to see more records than that, obviously. But the fact that we've won the Champions League 4 times and 5 Premier League titles. We've nearly won as many European Cups. We've won 7 international trophies. That is mental. So, yeah, I mean, and we've got to the final of the Champions League on 3 other occasions. Crazy stuff. We've been runner-up in the FA Cup only once. That was the year that we lost it under me, unfortunately. We also got to a Europa League final in 2038 as well. We were runner-up in the Carabao Cup 4 times, including once under me, of course. A few UEFA Youth Leagues too, which is very nice to see. So moving on to, I guess, landmarks is... that's not really that important. Ooh, hello. Managers, here we go. This is very interesting. So after my amazing spell with 5 league wins and 5 cup wins, I want to see who's won us the most trophies here, to be honest. So Zinedine Zidane took over for 1 season and did actually win something, won the Club World Cup. Yeah, well, that doesn't count, Zizou. Then Thomas Tuchel took over for 4 years, actually, and did win us the league and the Champions League. So Thomas Tuchel, fair credit where credit's due, he won the league and he won the Champions League with us. So not quite my level of achievement, but he did well. And then Diego... Oh, my God, look at this. Diego Simeone took over. Didn't last particularly long, less than a year, in fact, before winning the... Yeah. Mark Roberts. Oh my God, I just saw something further up, which is kind of personal to me. Then it was an interim manager. Then Zizou came back again for a year before being sacked after winning... Zinedine Zidane won us the Champions League So yeah, I wonder if anyone's got multiple Champions League. Then we had a caretaker position before Diego Coca came in. He did win us the Europa League and the Super Cup and the FA Cup. So some nice results there. Marco Rose. Actually, I don't know who that is. Oh, actually, I think I do. Isn't he Spanish or something? I feel like he's Spanish. No, German. Apologies. I saw him managing someone when I was looking through managers at one point. So he did all right, actually. He did very well. He won the Community League, he won the Premier League and an FA Cup with us before leaving the manager role. Next up, we had Matthew Chalmey. I don't know who that is, but he did win us a Carabao Cup. Eddie Howe then won us the Premier League. So that's kind of cool. A guy called Ruben Hennings came in and actually Champions League, UEFA Super Cup, Community Shield, and to be fair, the only one that really matters is the Champions League in there. Then Jean-Michel Seri came in as he was our current Fulham player, came in as our caretaker manager. Then Brendan Rodgers came in for 2 seasons and won the Europa League with us. So one of our longest serving managers in a way. Sebastian Corchia came in for a year and did nothing. Then Luke Wakeling came in as and then Andre Villas-Boas, who must be about 90 years old, came in. He did win us the Carabao Cup, in fairness to him. And then Ricardo Oliver. So we don't have a man. Oh, there's more. That can't be the same Adriano. Point is, he didn't do anything anyway. Then Ricardo Oliveira on loan again. And the current manager is a guy called Pablo Muche, who has actually done a dreadful job so far, it would appear. Only won 4 matches of his 17 in charge so far, which means we're probably not having the best time of it so far with him in charge. So, yeah, not the greatest record there. So let's look at the actual records themselves, shall we? Highest position, of course, is there. Most points in a season. We got 97 points one year. That's huge. Most league wins, obviously, 32. Most defeats, obviously, that's not really relevant. Fewest defeats in a season, yeah. Fewest draws. We only draw 1 game that year, so we must have lost all the others. Most league goals. Highest attendance was 61,000 at home to Liverpool. How did we get 61,000 if our attendance is... I assume we stayed in another stadium or something. Highest gate receipts. Average attendance, fair enough. Biggest win. Any new big wins in there? No. So we signed a guy called Jeroen van Beek from West Ham for £80 million. We received... Well, the highest transfer fee received was actually Pedro. Total transfer spending 221 million. That doesn't seem right to me. Overall goals by a player. Leonardo Catacchini, who now plays for Bordeaux. 340 games for Stockport, though, and 175 goals. I hope we didn't spend the earth on him. I really do. How much did we pay for him? £4 million off of Perugia. Hey, they were carrying on my legacy even after I weren't there. That is a lot of goals in one season, though. Leonardo Catacchini scored 36 goals. Most appearances for... David Mello! Okay, we're going to have to take a look at him. I presume he's actually the Empoli under-18s coach. Played for Sampdoria. No, he didn't. He was the under-20 coach at Sampdoria as well. Oh, no, he's fitness coach. Wow. Okay. That is mental. His actual career stats as a player, anyway. I wish there was a way you could... I mean, to be fair, he only played... So, yeah, he played over 600 times for Stockport County. David Mello. Never left the club in his entire career. Literally 20 years at the club as well, which is phenomenal. Even when he was late into his career, he got 11 assists in one season. In fact, look at that, 2038, during our absolute dominant season where we must have won the Premier League at an absolute canter, he got 10 goals and 20 assists, David Mello. Maybe I was wrong to prefer Staiku over him, I guess. It's the only thing I can really think about like that. That is just crazy. Highest average rating was Pedro. Youngest player, Greg Stubbs. Fastest goal, Ray Drake. Most goals by a player in a match, still up there. Most assists by a player in a match in a season. 30 assists. Most clean sheets. There we go, of course. Most player of the match awards. Fair enough. Matches won in a row. None of the... Oh, no, hang on. We won 10 games in a row in the league. Oh, no, that was under me. What am I talking about? Best 11 overall. Is anyone I had even in there? Kevin Wright. Okay. Oh, my Lord. David Mello. 945 appearances for Stockport. He was only 50 appearances short of 1,000 appearances, because this obviously counts all competitions. Niels van Dijk only has just under 800 appearances for us. Anyone else I recognise in there? Russell Eels, 665 games for Stockport. Kevin Wright, over 500 games. Morgan Roussel, 582. Carrius, 450. Garais, 400. Joao Soares, 600. Sloughy, nearly 400 games. Even John Villa. Best goal scorer of all time, obviously, is Catacchini. But Kevin Wright got 233 goals for Stockport County. But yeah, Catacchini is our record goal scorer in our history. Is fair to say. But that is still astonishingly good. Wow. I'm just amazed by that. What's this one do again? Oh, what on earth is this? I've never seen this page before. I don't really know what to make of that, in all honesty. I assume this is just players in general, even that are out on loan. I assume it must be players that are out on loan. That's the only way I can really explain that. So I figured we'd have a look at the Premier League through the ages to see if there's any surprises. And I mean, this is ridiculous. This is what I was talking about. I talked about this briefly in a video a little while ago, I think, where it just seems like the same 2-3 teams or 4 or 5 teams come up and down every single year, and it just kind of gets a bit boring. To give you an idea, we're now what, 32 years into this save, and basically the same teams, other than Derby, are all Premier League teams still. West Ham are actually solid, which is something noteworthy. Stockport not so much, but I mean, oh, okay, that's better. Leyton Orient were relegated from the Premier League, but the fact that they got there at all is amazing. To be fair play to them. Man City won the league that year, no surprises there, although we did struggle a bit that season. West Ham up there, Ipswich Town, and there was Southampton, Fulham getting relegated again. No, whoa, Tottenham got 106 points. 106 points. They went unbeaten. Tottenham did their own invincible season, winning the league by 28 points. That has to be the biggest winning margin ever. What on earth was in that Tottenham team is all I wanted. I want to know what they were smoking. Anyone surprised there? No. Stockport up there, which was nice. Spurs have actually won quite a few Premier Leagues, it would appear here. Huddersfield Town back in the Premier League and then back out of the Premier League. Same teams down the bottom again. Tottenham win another league. If you point anything out, if you see anything that I've missed, do feel free to point it out as well. I'll be very interested in that. City sort of alternating. We were okay there. Brighton, again, no surprises. Ipswich back in the top flight. No surprises there again, although we were second that season. We've not won the league for a while, have we? It's fair to say. We've kind of been struggling a bit as of late. There we go. Our last league win was in 2040. Won it by a single point in the end. So there's that, I suppose. Manchester United won one. Again, the same teams. We did win. Oh, there you go. 2038, where we won the league with a massive tally. Still lost 5 times, and Hull City were back in the top flight for a season. That was nice to see at least. Yeah, 97 points is bloody good for us, I gotta say. Any surprises there? Not really. We came 5th that season. Just missed out on top 4 that year. Leeds were in the Premier League. Then Spurs won it with 79 points. That is a very low total to win the Premier League with. We won it with 89 points that season, which is nice. No surprises in there at all. Okay, 17 points for Norwich that year, our affiliate, presumably not anymore. The league was... Chelsea won the league by a single goal over us and Manchester City, who both had identical goal differences. That has to be the closest Premier League finish of all time. Even the one that we had wasn't as close as that, in fairness. Manchester United won the league one season. We won it again. That was under me. That was my last season in charge. But you can see how samey it is. There's always the same teams. Other than Leyton Orient running up the leagues, it just, I don't know, there's not as much variation as there used to be, which is a real shame. I'm just going to have a look at League 2 through the years. Because the middle leagues are pretty much going to have the same teams in them over the years. So you can see that League 2 it's not really changed a great deal, in all honesty, either, to be fair. Just have a little look, see if there's any surprise packages in this league. Gateshead up, but then obviously getting relegated. Coventry City getting promoted there. Billericay still sort of languishing, it's fair to say. Telford United promoted again out of League 2, doing all right. No real surprises here. No, Dorking Wanderers suddenly appearing out of nowhere, like I've seen a few times on some sim saves I've done. Aldershot Town winning it. Lincoln City winning a league there. No real surprises there. Fylde getting relegated again, which is a real shame for them. Ebbsfleet Town up there. Eastleigh into the league, which is kind of cool, I suppose. Looks like MK Dons definitely did get themselves back into the Football League, though, so I guess fair play for them. Anyone else particularly interesting? Hereford back up into the Football League there. Not really a lot of interesting stuff in these, to be honest. It's a bit of a shame, really. It's one of the things I always like looking through is you generally see awesome teams just appearing, but it just appears as though that just simply hasn't happened in this save whatsoever. And not even that. There's not been any massive surprises. You're not looking through this and suddenly you see Watford or something, you know? There just seems to be a lot less variation. I don't know if anyone else has noticed this. I think it's due to the money in the way the leagues work now. But it does seem to affect the balance a bit further down the line. I mean, I guess you could argue that that's more realistic in a way, but I'd like a bit more opportunity for random chance, I guess. Because it just doesn't seem to... Yeah, nothing's really changed. It's just the same teams in every league, practically. And, yeah, that's the final season. So, yeah, nothing really much to show you on that one, which is a bit of a shame, I've got to say. I'm just going to quickly go through the, Champions League winners and stuff like that, so we can have a look at that too, just to see. Let's see if I can get to it from here. I probably should be able to. Europe... No, we have to do it from that, don't we? That's the right one. Let's see. Sorry, apologies for the vocal fry. I know that can be incredibly annoying. I'm trying to do my best to avoid it. Oh, I was going to say, past winners, that's what we're interested in. Past winners of the Champions League. So when we won it, it was here. Manchester United, of course, beat Liverpool. So then Bayern, Manchester United, Chelsea, we won it again, beating Real Madrid. Then Paris Saint-Germain, and then we won it again, beating Chelsea. Monaco, Juve, Chelsea, City, Barca, Bayern, Spurs. We won it again, beating City. Ooh, that's nice. A couple of Champions League wins over City is always a bonus. No real big surprises. The couple of wins that Monaco have been interesting, but other than that, not a great deal. What about the Europa League? Anyone interesting in there? So where did we win it? There's us. So then the season, Liverpool won it. Stuttgart, kind of cool. Porto won it, so that's kind of nice. Lille won a Europa League, but other than that, it's the same old teams. We did come up to a final there. Bayer Leverkusen got to one as well. Okay, let's have a little gander at World Cups and whatnot. Where do we want? We want World, I suppose. Yeah, World Cup. And then we'll go have a look at the European Championships too while we're at it. So, we want past winners of the World Cups. USA have won the World Cup. Okay, there you go. Something a little bit different. So France, Brazil, England, of course, we talked about that when it happened. Italy won it. Germany won it. The United States beat Romania in a World Cup final in 2038. Sorry, I just missed this. Australia won the World Cup. That is insanity. How did Australia win the World Cup? Can we actually have a... we can. All groups. So how... Oh, because it's one of these... Yeah, one of these types of World Cups where there's just bloody everybody. Iraq in the World Cup. Where's Australia? So they came second in their group to Spain. How did this happen? I want to see... Oh, no, we don't want that one. Spoilers! We want second round. So, Australia, who did they beat? They beat Costa Rica 2-1. Fine, that's a reasonable result you'd expect. Oh, my God. That's a result you'd expect them to probably get. Who did they get in the third round? They must have pulled up some absolute trees along here. They beat Brazil. They beat Brazil on penalties. If you can knock out Brazil, then you can beat anyone. Then they beat South Korea. All right, fair enough. That's an understandable one at that point. And then they beat Portugal, the hosts, but they still had Germany and Spain to play. Or rather, and Portugal beat Germany, and then they beat Spain in the final. They beat Spain 2-1 in the final. Who on earth is in this Australian team? Is what I want to know. They must have some unbelievable players, it's fair to say. Sebastian Jones. Look at this. This is crazy. They ranked number 12 in the world at one point, Australia. Sebastian Jones plays for Manchester United. Came through at Sydney FC. He's worth £77 million. Ryan Brown plays for Tottenham. He came through at Brisbane Roar. Still plays for Tottenham, actually. I mean, worth £61 million. Anthony Reeve plays for Cardiff. But that's... And then David Austin. But then it very quickly falls off a cliff. They won the World Cup. Oh, okay, fair enough. That was a while ago. So a lot of those players would have retired. But that is still mental, I have to say. Fair enough on that one. Right, it's finally time for what you probably wanted to see, our actual players and how they performed in their career. So I'm just going to work my way down our list, cut out the bit where I'm typing, because, that could probably get quite annoying, and we'll see how they've done. Hopefully, the players are all still in the database. They should be. I think most of them should have the whole keep history after retirement. If there's a couple that don't, then we'll just have to accept that, I suppose. So let's move on to that now and see what sort of players we can get up to. So first one of those is Florian Karius, who actually did play for a long time. He's now a coach at Mainz. He made 178 caps for Germany. That is a ridiculous amount of caps. Sorry if my microphone just got a bit quieter. I've had to move it further away from my face because I've got the keyboard here now. So he played for the Stockport his entire career after leaving Hoffenheim. Only ever played for 2 clubs, which is pretty damn impressive. And now he is a coach at Mainz after being Livorno's under-20 manager. He actually managed Braunschweig for a bit before going to be a coach at Augsburg. He only did... one season at Braunschweig. But it's really nice to see that we've got players that have gone into management. He's a driven personality. He's a very decent coach. And I think there's a chance that this guy in the future could have probably gone on to become a really solid manager. It obviously didn't work out for him that well at Braunschweig. I don't know if we can actually see that, how he did there. Finished 13th in the Bundesliga. Any kind of awards at all? 13th and knocked out by Kaiserslautern in the cup. I don't know what league that was in. That's the second tier, so it obviously didn't last that long for him at the club. So there you go. That's Florian Karius. Here is John Veer. So he just retired as a player at the age of 38. 159 games for Stockport County. Then moved to Dynamo Kiev for a bit. Still a solid career to retire at the age of 38. 168 caps for Ecuador as well. Went back to Ecuador to play for his hometown club and did even better there as an elderly gentleman. So fair play to him. Obviously, we know about David Mello, so I don't really need to show him any more than that. We cut. That's as much as we're going to get. 146 caps for Belgium, though. You always find players on this game get way more caps than they would do in real life. Abdurazak Slawi retired at the age of 34. He got 95 caps rather for Holland, or the Netherlands rather. Played 327 times for Stockport County and 67 goals. So he was here a while, and then did, I think, a season and a half at Cardiff. It would appear that's the case. I think we can look at... Oh, we can't see his career there, but or can we? No, we We literally can't. I wish you could see, like, I don't know why you wouldn't be able to see that. It makes no, unless we can, history summary over history. Oh, we can see it. Really nice. I didn't know you could do that. That's interesting. Okay, so yeah, played for Stockport for a long time after I left, still racking up the appearances, only played 4 times for Cardiff. Did he move for a fee? It didn't appear as though he did. 3 Premier League titles, though. And, yeah, he won a couple of Champions League. Not too bad, old Abdurazak, so fair play to him. Morgan Roussel, it was a similar story, it would appear, for old Morgs. 36 years old, he retired out after doing a season. Actually, it did a few seasons, it would appear, at Feyenoord. So let's just have a look at that. Yeah, he did a few seasons at Sporting, did alright, then did 3 more seasons at Feyenoord before retiring at the age of 36. He got 127 caps for France. He was a club legend at Stockport, nearly 500 appearances in his entire career. He won 16 trophies, come runner-up in 12 as well. I mean, it's crazy. 3 Champions League titles is mental. Yeah, lifted the Carabao Cup, the Emirates FA Cup, UEFA Super Cup, Europa League. He won 2 Europa Leagues, 3 Champions Leagues, and 4 Premier League titles. What an illustrious career this guy had. Moved to Feyenoord for 1.7 million, so fair play to that one. I'm saying fair play a lot, but I'm running out of ways to describe the things that are going on. So next up is Elcho Bofa, who is the director of football at FC Borg Peronas, after being a player in France for a long time. That is very, very interesting, in fact. The fact that he played for them for £56 million. That's right, we want to check at Toulouse. I reckon they've got some league titles. They have to have done. The amount of money they've been spending, there has to be a reason why. Nope, no league titles, but they do appear to be okay financially. I just want to see if they've got any competitions. Where's the... No, it's the overview, isn't it? So this could have happened, of course, before... Actually, we'll just take a look on competition. So they've, come 3rd place in the top flight once. They won 2 Coupe de France and runner-up one season. A few League Cups in there. Other than that, though, not a lot. They just seem to be having a lot of money to splash around, kind of interestingly. So there you go. That's Toulouse. That's what's going on with Toulouse. So there, Elcho Bofa played for them for a long, long time before retiring and going into... director of footballing, where he has been doing an okay job, it would appear, over in, I don't know, presumably this French second tier now, the Dutch legend. 2 years there, not too bad though, fair to say for old Elcho Bofa. Kevin Wright, he retired. He got 120 games for Scotland and 98 goals. So obviously their record scorer. Oh dear, he crossed the divide. He eventually left Stockport and joined Celtic. He got 366 league matches for Stockport and 150 goals. I mean, I joked about it. I just don't think he fitted the system we played. And, that's fine. Not everybody does. His record is absolutely astonishing, though, it's fair to say. Yeah, I mean, all sorts. 14 trophies he got. Won the European Championship, World Cup Golden Boot, European Championship Golden Boot. He's obviously done some great stuff for Scotland in his career, which is very, very impressive. I don't know how it looks like he left for Rangers on a free transfer, it would appear. Played for them for sort of what would appear to be 1 season. 3 Champions Leagues, 5 Premier League titles as well for Kevin Wright. So, hey, it's fair to say he's done a very solid job in his career. For some reason, Jesper Middeldorp isn't in the game still, and I don't know why that is, so we'll have to skip him. Here's old Russie Eels. 479 league appearances for Stockport and 35 goals for England in 153 caps. This guy I'm glad I picked him up. Oh my god, what a career he had for Stockport over such a long period of time as well. Like he's not like he was here for a limited period of time. He was here for a long, long time. Did really, really well. Even when joining Sporting, frankly. He's only just retired, it would seem, at the start. No, he retired ages ago. He retired 5 years ago. Yeah, so actually started his career at Reading, then went to Leeds, obviously, standard. Fair play to him. Like, what a season. 20 team honours. That is mental. So, Carabao Cups, Emirates FA Cups, 2 of those, 1 Europa League, 4 Champions Leagues Russell Eels has won, European Championship with England, which is crazy, Club World Cup twice, Nations League, and of course 4 Premier League titles. Russell Eels, Stockport legend, absolutely no doubt about that. That is for sure. So there we go. That's Russell Eels. We're finding a few more retired players now, though, rather than coaches. Similar story for Liv Staiku, who was all over the shop. I mean, Trabzonspor, then Stoya. He's done a lot of things. He went back to his native country, still got, 135 appearances. Didn't quite have the impact that I guess I'd expected from him. Like, it's surprising, really. He bounced around way too much for my liking after that, but maybe I should have gone with David Mello. Maybe we'd have won the Champions League earlier had I gone with David Mello. So that's Liv Staiku, Julius Meyer, retired at the age of 35. He actually did 4 appearances for Fulham towards the end of his career, 124 caps for Germany, only 117 league games for Stockport. He just obviously didn't quite have what I expected from him. Was a bit of a club legend, well, not club legend, but 219 league games for Roma is pretty damn good. That is a decent amount. They won a cup there. I think that's about it, really. I think he must have won quite a few things there with Stockport, and a buttload of stuff with Germany, is fair to say. So Jamie Lane has actually retired as a staff member, so I've never seen that before. So he retired as a player at the age of 36, and now he's retired as a staff member. So yeah, he was under reserve coach at Amiens for 4 years. Then he became under-19s coach at Bayern Munich, and he was there for 3 years. And then he became Borussia Dortmund's coach, whilst he was held for 2 years. So he never really became more than a coach, which is a bit surprising in all honesty for Jamie Lane. Not that many appearances. I suppose it's because of the way that he kind of was generated. But yeah, he scored a lot of goals for Stockport when he was here, and I kind of hoped he would have a good career as a staff member, but there you go. Finally, someone who's done a little bit different of a career. It's Nikolai Overgaard Søndergaard, the Danish Viking legend. Not that that really makes much sense. Wow. Seems like he did actually. Let's just have a look at his career stats since we can do. So he actually moved to Barcelona for 46 million. Wow. Did a few years over in Spain with them, went to West Brom for 2 million, then moved on a free to Deportivo, went to Vitesse for a few years, finally went back to his home nation of Denmark and did a few more years there. He didn't retire until the age of 40. Jesus Christ. He must have been pretty bloody old when he retired from playing, that is. Like 38 or 39 years old. What a legend this guy was for them. Now, amazingly, he's been a scout at Béziers over in France, then he went to Genoa, and now he's a scout for Inter. And he's actually really decent too. Well, not really decent, but he's a really solid scout for Inter. So that's really, really nice to see. He's obviously got good eyes for this kind of thing. And let's face it, he's bloody terrifying. So fair play to old Nikolai Overgaard Søndergaard. Probably the last we'll see from him. But he did get a lot of votes for the manager's poll, so clearly you guys seem to like old guard dog. Camille Bednar, we kind of know about him, really. He's retired at the age of 34, didn't go on to be a manager. Played for Cardiff for a bit, played for Dynamo Kiev for a bit. Still a solid player for us. 200 appearances for Stockport says it all, really. But yeah, fair play, Camille. Alexandru Negoita. Wow, 364 appearances for Juventus in the end, and it cost him 94 odd million, to be fair. So 75 caps for Romania as well. He had a bloody good career, it's fair to say. I just wish he'd probably done it with Stockport. He went on and had a very long career, like 14 years with Juventus. I was just a shame. I would have liked to have seen him stick around, but then Niels van Dijk perhaps wouldn't have had the career that he has had he stuck around. I can't believe Niels van Dijk is still playing in 2050. That is mental. So there you go, Alexander Negoita. Next up, Julio Vigo, who of course moved to Toulouse for massive money and never really quite found his feet there. Still got plenty of games for Uruguay. He was a staff member for a bit. So he moved to Huddersfield, spelled at Toulouse, finally decided to hang up his boots after 2 years playing, but there was no intention to leave the game. His first and only venture into management was a 2-year spell in Uruguay. Wow, he actually managed the Uruguayan national team for 2 years. Oh, that's quite nice. He was a coach for like 4 years and then just sort of gave it up. So obviously it didn't work out so well for him when he was manager of Uruguay. But that's pretty damn cool for Julio Vigo to actually go and manage his country. What an absolute ledge he was. I've never actually seen one of my former players go and manage their country before. So fair play to him. And Abasolo retired at the age of 35, did a decent spell for Valencia, and then actually moved to Austria Vienna. So he played there for a little while. £2 million, in fact, no caps for Spain. That actually does surprise me considering how good he was, but he did kind of rattle around the leagues quite a little bit. I think he was mainly propped up by the system that we played. That's what allowed him to excel in the way that he did, basically. So still, it's nice to see that he still had a solid career playing till he was 35, which is not too bad. I wonder who's retired the oldest. It's got to be Niels van Dijk. David Akwebu played till he was 36 years old. So he went to Leicester for a bit and was average. Went over to Utrecht in Holland and then sort of rattled around the lower leagues of Germany. Only ever got 7 caps for Germany. So he clearly wasn't the player that I thought he was. Though Leicester did spend £31 million on him, to be fair. So he can't have been that bad. Still had a solid career sort of rattling around the lower leagues of Germany before retiring at the age of 36. So there you go, David Akwebu. Ivan Dimitrov retired at the age of 36. He did actually go and play for Rostov as well. So he played for a few little Russian teams towards the end of his career, which is actually very, very impressive. It didn't last long. And yeah, no staff in there. But 100 caps dead on for Bulgaria. It's nice for them to give him one more cap. Philip Soller also retired at the age of 36. 115 caps for Sweden he got, and he was all over the place. He only got 9 games for Real Madrid, went to China and got 64 appearances before going to Norway for 1 season there, really, really late in his career to finish things off for himself. So, it's a reasonably solid career. 324 appearances. Did okay for Stockport County. I would have liked for him to have stayed, but I guess the moves elsewhere and the fact that we got a load of money for him, what was it 40 odd million to go to Real Madrid for it. He just never quite made the grade there. But still a legend of Swedish football, it would seem, with 115 caps. For some reason, Greg Stubbs doesn't appear to be in here, and I don't know why. I feel like the keep history after retirement, I would have had that on virtually every player, but he doesn't appear to be in here at all, which is a real shame. And neither is Craig Palmer. I don't get that. Why are they not in the database? Carlo Makengo retired at the age of 35, went over to Romania for a little bit after a spell at Palermo. Not really a lot to say there, as it doesn't really stand out. And John Peru isn't showing up either. And I don't know why. Why are none of the English players showing up? It doesn't make any sense to me. Same with Liam Hunter. All of the English players that came through our youth academy are just not in the database anymore. I don't get it. The Bridges had better be in it. What? Are you joking? Ah, he's reverted back to his normal name. So there you go. Bruno Bridges is actually in the database. That's a bit weird. But the other ones didn't have nicknames, so I don't know why they're not showing up. That is very, very strange. So he did actually play for a fair while at Unial, and then actually moved to Torrense. So what a career Bruno Bridges had. 423 appearances in the end, a long time at Stockport, Gil Vicente, but the fact that he had his second longest spell was at my favourite Portuguese clubs, and one of my favourite clubs ever, is really, really cool. Did he actually win anything with any of these teams? He won the Europa League with Stockport, Champions League with Stockport, Build-A-Base Trophy with Stockport, and League 2 with Stockport. So yeah, no actual individual trophies with any of the other sides, but the fact that he played for Unial for such a long time is really, really heartwarming for me. And of course, he's going to be doing a great job for us, hopefully, with Polonia Warsaw in the next save. So that's going to be interesting as well. Can't even look up Simon Quickenden. But yeah, a player like Ethan O'Kane is kept in the database. Very strange. And he went to Levski Sofia in the end. And we're just going to have to wrap this up with a few last ones here, which is a real shame. Chris Thorpe obviously played most of his career down under. But yet Piero Bollina is. I don't know. I mean, what a career he had at Ajax, in fairness. Like, that is some record, to be fair. Wow, he never actually won anything. Not even... He must have won the Dutch league, surely. Very strange. 268 appearances though for Ajax and 116 goals, so that is a fair amount of games. At least John Okoro is still around. Retired at the age of 34 in the end. Played for Brøndby, played for AGF, and he actually moved to FC Frederica in the end, so that would have been in the lower tiers of German football. He has won a few things in his career, bless old John. Retired at the age of 34 in the end. Tala Kanmaz, in case you were interested, played a long time at Bayern Munich in the end. In fact, 106 caps for Turkey as well before retiring at the age of 36. Problem with Pedro is that there's so many players called Pedro, it's virtually impossible to find him. So, yeah, he might be in here. He might be. Charlie Dyer eventually retired after playing for Torino for quite a few seasons. John Gray actually played for Provercelli for a little while. He obviously got picked up on a free there. Louis Molden retired at the age of 36, having... Oh, he actually went to Perth Glory. Okay, that's pretty cool. After not playing for Leeds for literally years, he actually moved down to Australia and had a nice little time down under, I'm pleased for him for that. Finally, a player who is amazingly doing something. It's Josef Beiser. He's actually managing Ingolstadt. He's literally the highest rated one we've had so far. So yeah, after his last spell was at Zelina, then he became the Duisburg under-19s assistant manager. Then he went to Hoffenheim as the same role, then to Schalke, and then he got given the job just now, in fairness. So he has very little record as an actual, as a manager. He's only been in charge for a little while. He's done okay. No, he's not done that well, has he really? But at least he has actually picked up a managerial job. He's the only player, I think, other than Julio Vigo, who managed his country briefly, who's actually got a proper managerial job. So Josef Beiser, congratulations on that at least. Corbinian Garais, 34 as a player. Whoa, 300 games for Stockport County. He actually retired at Stockport County in the end. 56 caps for Germany and 41 goals. My lord, he's won a lot of different things. He's won 3 Community Shields, a Carabao Cup, 2 FA Cups, 2 UEFA Super Cups, a Europa League, 2 Champions Leagues, a World Cup, and of course 3 Premier League titles. 23 team honours for him. He's actually come runner-up in a few things as well, in fairness. European Golden Boot, Premier League Division top goal scorer 3rd place. So, fair play. I wonder if we had any Ballon d'Or winners. We'll have to check that too. Don't worry, we're going to get to it. Hopefully my recording doesn't cut out or something. Andy Davidson eventually did leave Vitesse, but played most of his career, if you think about it in terms of appearances there, to join NEC, or was it NAC Breda, for a little bit. I don't know, actually, it's not NAC Breda. Well, I actually don't know. It's got the long name there, but it probably is that. Retired at the age of 35. Yeah, I mean, he won a Europa League. There's that. Got to hang your hat on something. Liam Miller. I was really hoping that old Lee Mills here would have done something in terms of becoming a manager, but it wasn't to be. And we've only got Regan Booty left on my list here, unfortunately. I accidentally typed in regen booty, which is exactly what he is not. So yeah, he retired at the age of 35, didn't go on to do anything more than that, which is a shame, but he's still a legend of this save. He's probably the favourite real player that I've ever had on one of these saves, old Regan Booty, and you guys seem to love him too. So good old Regan. I hope he has a really solid career. He's on an older shot at the moment from Huddersfield Town. I look forward to seeing him playing for Huddersfield one day soon. That'd be really, really awesome. I hope he's a fantastic player. He seems like a good lad. Right then, should we have a look at the Ballon d'Ors and whatnot? Award winners. So we've got a few of these. We'll have a look at some of the teams of the year, perhaps, as well. So we've got Ballon d'Or. I don't suppose there's any Stockport players in here at all. It would appear that there probably isn't, but we'll just start from where we... Oh, Johan Mol. Wow. So the guy that they signed from Utrecht, who I was after, eventually ended up winning Ballon d'Or for them. In fact, the following season, to be fair, and he was only 22 at the time. That is crazy young. The following season, Sanabria, Mbappe, Pellegrini, of course, no surprise. A guy called Vangels. There's a guy called Vangels, and Vangels has won himself a bloody Ballon d'Or. Fair play to him on that one. No surprises there. Peralta and Mol up there too. Sanabria, Mbappe and Peralta the following year. Vangels was back with a vengeance, or Vangel in this case. Jonatas won it for PSG. Vangels in there too. I love saying Vangels. Anyone? Furhat in there. Josh Taylor. An American. Oh! An American playing for Manchester City. Oh, I'm getting a phone call now. Right then, I'm back. It's been like half an hour. I had to nip out and I smashed my knee on the dashboard of the car and now it's all swollen. So that's the story of what happened in the last split second for you guys. Anyway, yeah, Josh Taylor, an American. Oh, he's retired now. Of course he is. Wow. So he started at LAFC, went to Stuttgart, then Valencia, and then Manchester City for so many years. How much did he actually cost them though? 8 million there. 72 million pounds he joined Manchester City for. Wow. Nearly 100 goals for the United States. I love seeing stuff like that. To have an American player come second in the Ballon d'Or. That's the sort of stuff we live for in this. Paraguayan winning the Ballon d'Or there. Belgian, Papel Diba as well. Obviously with Vangels in there and all. Anyone? Joe Osborne, an Englishman up there too, which is nice. Vangels smashed another one. Huge surprise there. Let's see, anyone else? No, Vangels still doing a good job. Oliver Assenmacher for Borussia Mönchengladbach. That's interesting actually to see that they did so well to have a player win the Ballon d'Or. And to be fair, he got 30 goals, so fair play to him. And then it was Man City's time. Alexander Garcia all over this. And then Assenmacher up there again. But Garcia wins 3 in a row. A Schalke player came third, though, so fair play. And then it's just all over to this guy. For 2 different clubs, Uruguayan Fabrizio da Silva wins it 3 years in a row. In fact, were these basically the same? They just swapped over, didn't they? And then Federico Boques, a Brazilian, comes in there too. And then a guy called Bertavoy as well. And there's one more year in here. In fact, Jay Griffin, an Englishman, comes second. That's the closest England have got on the old Ballon d'Or. Let's see if the FIFA Pro Player of the Year is any different. It probably isn't. They're usually not. Not on FM anyway. I was just seeing if there's any surprising player. In fact, it doesn't appear as though it changed even a tiny little bit. It's quite literally all the same players, it would seem. Anyway, FIFA Pro Team of the Year, that's more interesting. So I want to see if there's any surprising teams in there, really. So we'll start with the season that we were at, which was this season, 2029. So no Stockport players in there at all. Not that that's a huge surprise. I just want to see if there's any unusual teams finally getting players in there. There we go. Florian Karius was on the bench. We've had players on the bench before. We had Karius on the bench and Jamie Lane one year. I really wanted us to have a player in the actual team, but it doesn't appear as though we're going to get that. Nope, no one in the team at all. Oh no, Florian Karius again made the bench, so 2 years in a row for him. And then a third season in a row, so he must have been an absolute legend for this club. But again, it's all the same teams mostly towards the top. There you go. Gianluca Baggio of Fiorentina getting in there as the goalkeeper, and Fabio Silva getting in there for Roma as well. Also, Karius again on the bench. Just the perpetual bench warmer he is. And Negoita, a former player of ours at least, made the bench as a goalkeeper as well. No players from us in there, but Florian Karius is just in there every single year. That he's just never quite good enough to be put into the full team. Jorge Centurion was a guy I was looking at one point too, to potentially go further forward in this save if it came to that. Talakanmaz in there too, which is kind of nice. Boucher, another guy I looked at, he came from Marseille, although went to Spurs in the end. Let's see, Negoita did in fact get in the team this time. Florian Karius, yet again, just every single season, ticking him off. He's on the bench again. Actually no, we had a guy called Stéphane Ronald on the bench that season. I presume he's retired as well. No, he's a Frenchman. I presume he played for Stockport for quite some time then. Can we look at his career statistics? Oh, he's a manager now, isn't he? Of course. So yeah, he played for Stockport for bloody ages. £53 million he cost, and he weren't bad, was he? So yeah, that's him. So at least we had another one on the bench, but it would have been nice to get one, I don't know, in the damn team. And that's actually the last one, is it? Wait. Yeah, it is. All seasons, though. I mean, I don't know how that one's calculated, but Vangels is, of course, in there. So there you go. Player of the season, team of the season, all of that jazz. Under 21's men's best player. Any real surprises in there at all? Any of our players? Not really. Although a Mainz player winning it is pretty damn cool. In fact, 2 different Mainz players have won it at different times. And obviously Achtermacher was in there as well. So, I'm not really sure what else I can show you. Is there a European Championship I can show you? I can probably show you that too. Let's see if we can do that. UEFA World Cup qualifiers, European Championship playoff, Euro. That's the one, isn't it? Yeah, let's have a look at the old Euros. It's fairly straightforward, it would seem. I think I've already looked at this, actually. So, Portugal won it. Denmark actually came second in one, but Italy, Croatia won one. Belgium came second. England won a couple in there too. No massive shocks, though, unfortunately. Perhaps the Nations League? Let's see. Past winners of the Nations League. So England have won a few of these as well, it would seem. Won one in 2025. France, Germany, Holland, Germany, Spain, Belgium, England. No real shocks of any teams that are up there at all, to be honest. It's all the same teams. Croatia getting close a couple of times, or just once, really. So, I think that's probably going to do it. Here endeth rebuilding Stockport County. They're on a bit of a decline at the moment, which does worry me. But they've at least won some titles in my absence. I think, what, 3 league titles? No, 4. They must have won 4 league titles without me. Why is it saying we've won 5 Premier Leagues if there's only... Oh, of course, yeah, we won 2 under me, idiot. Okay, so there you go. That will conclude rebuilding Stockport. I am a fan of the way that's all gone. I think we did it faster than I was expecting, it's fair to say. But I've had a good time along the way, and we've made some absolute club legends, in all honesty. And I really hope that all of you that have enjoyed this save will be tuning in for Building a Nation, where we really are going to try and build an absolute dynasty out of Poland. And I think it is going to be probably the most fun I've ever had on Football Manager. And I'm hoping I can bring that passion through. I really, really am hoping that that's going to be the case with that. So yeah, stick around and obviously get involved with that save, because I think it's the one I'm really going to just sort of pour all my effort into. Not that I haven't been doing that with this one, but I absolutely want to smash it with Building a Nation, because I never got to finish it last time and I want to do that. So if you've enjoyed this and you've enjoyed the entire series overall, drop a like on the video. That would be spectacular. And if you're new to the channel and you just tuned in because it's some FM in the future, then hey, maybe subscribe. Go back and watch this from the start. You'll probably have quite a good time, and stick around for Building a Nation very soon in Poland. It's going to be a fun old time, and I'll see you guys soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.